It's the darkest secret someone has kept from you. I had a friend that came back from Afghanistan with pretty bad PTSD. He became a heavy drinker and would often get blackout drunk. In 2010, he tried to end his life, but his longtime girlfriend found him and managed to stop the bleeding enough to save him. 3 years later, I got a call that he'd done it. He ended his life after a bonfire party where everyone was drinking. His girlfriend heard a shot and found him bleeding out in the bathroom. He shot himself in the stomach. I had always thought it was strange that he chose the stomach, since he was a trained soldier, but assumed maybe it was the alcohol or the nerves. He was still conscious when paramedics arrived and he told them point blank he was tired of living in constant pain and just wanted it over. He pleaded with the medics to just let him die. 5 years after that, his girlfriend ended her own life. She'd been distraught and distant ever since he died, and she just never really recovered. Went from being a beautiful young woman, to a rail-thin substance user, and then swallowed a bottle of medication. She left a 16-page letter for her friends and family. It detailed how she had ended her boyfriend's life that night. He'd apparently been begging her to do a life-ending pact, but she didn't want to die. That night he got in a drunken rage and they were fighting the whole night. He grabbed his firearm and locked himself in the bathroom, threatening to do it. She talked him into letting her in by saying she was ready to die as well. She claims she went in there hoping to talk him down yet again, but something about the look in his eyes changed her mind. He was the love of her life and she just snapped. She couldn't watch him suffer any longer. She took the firearm from his shaking hands and aimed at his chest. Her nerves and unfamiliarity with it caused her to lower her aim right as she pulled the trigger and ended up hitting low. She stated that he asked her to shoot again to finish, but she dropped the firearm and was crying uncontrollably. It was at this moment that he realized she wasn't ready to go, so he picked it up and calmly asked her for a hand towel. She wrote that he wiped the grip of its fingerprints, and then placed it in his hand and told her to walk away so you don't have to see this. She was frozen in place as he pointed it at his head and pulled the trigger, but it was empty. He'd only loaded a single round. She watched him bleed out over the next couple minutes.